Welcome to Lovin The Loveboat, a fond and funny look back on the world's greatest cruise ship-based television show. I'm Istvan, singer, songwriter, and TV fanatic.
And I'm Schell, pop culture enthusiast.
Join us as we relive episodes of one of the most watched TV series of all time.
Occasionally deviating to pop culture charts unknown.
So come aboard, we're expecting you for another edition of
Lovin The Loveboat.
Hey guys, we're back.
We are back. It's been a little bit of a break, but we're back.
And we're back because we have listener Chris Willis to thank.
Yes.
For this wonderful, I think,
It's really good.
suggestion. What episode would that be? I want to see if Michelle knows what this is.
I don't know what episode it is. I know it's season 3.
Season 3, I think it's the last episode of the season, episode 28.
Actually, you're correct, because it's kind of like a bit of a cliffhanger, I believe.
Yeah, so guys, again, if you have any suggestions, any episodes that stick out in your mind, one that you remember, or an absolute favorite, please message us at our Instagram, Lovin The Loveboat, and we will do our best to feature your suggestion. So let's just get into this. I am going to read, as I always do, the 3 storylines. Today we have Toni and Julie, written by Ben Jolson and Art Bear. Secondly, we have Separate Beds, written by Cy Rose. And thirdly, we have America's Sweetheart, written by Richard Albrecht and Casey Keller. Michelle, who is on today's episode?
We have Anthony Andrews. He was basically a British actor, did a lot of theater work. I don't really know of him prior to this. How about you?
No, not at all.
So he's kind of new to me.
Dr. Toni, whatever.
I know, but they don't credit him as doctor, which is odd. But yes, he is a doctor. Then we have Alison Arngrim as
Yes.
Becky Daniels. Everybody knows her
I do.
as good old Nellie Olson from Little House on the Prairie.
Let me just interrupt right away. This is why I love this episode. This person is awesome. And she plays I don't know how you describe it, but just the whole character that she is, I was all in on this, and I thought it was such an awesome suggestion.
Yeah.
And if you want, you guys, these people who are part of like Little House on the Prairie and all that, they are making a real presence on like TikTok, Instagram, and I see them posting a lot, and they're actually really good posts, and she seems pretty cool.
She does. Next, we have William Christopher as Carl Mitchell. Everybody knows him as Father Mulcahy from MASH. Then we have Nancy Kulp. She plays Aunt Gert, and you know her from Beverly Hillbillies.
Miss Hathaway.
Miss Hathaway.
She had a crush on Jethro.
Oh, that's right.
That was completely unbelievable.
It really was unbelievable. But she did it. Then we have Ronnie Schell as Mr. Scott. He plays the director in this. And
Dude, Ronnie Schell's still alive.
I was going to say that. He's 92.
That's what I was going to say, too, and made me so happy. I like that
Honest to
guy.
God, it was great to hear that he's still alive. He's just in a lot of TV shows, Emergency, did a lot of voice actor work, I guess. He did some stuff on Captain Caveman.
I love Ronnie Schell a lot.
Do you love Ronnie Schell as much as you love Toni Tennille?
More.
Really?
Yes.
I thought she would be like your third wife.
No. We've already been over this.
Toni Tennille plays Lynn Mitchell. And then we have a little smaller piece by Lindsay Bloom. She plays Nancy. Fun fact, she was Miss USA 1972.
Who's this?
She plays, like, I believe she's the woman who, I'm going to call him Father Mulcahy, who's kind of trying to date a little bit here and there on this episode.
The weirdest thing in this episode is they had 2 people on here that were so unnecessary, like playing Paul Turnbull and Linda, 2 like weird like sweepstakes winners that they threw onto the episode. It made no sense. They had the craziest weird exchange just for a brief moment, and I was wondering why on earth did they shoehorn these 2 people onto the show? It was really weird.
Yes, I was wondering too, like it was an odd thing to do. Maybe they really were sweepstakes winners.
Could be. You know, quite honestly, they have a weird scene where the guy had the craziest like pickup line of, "Can I borrow your lipstick?"
And then, I have that written down. That was a little off-putting.
Hello, Linda. Hello, Paul. Linda, this is going to sound like a strange question coming from me. Let me borrow your lipstick?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Are you finished with my lipstick?
Yes.
Can I have it back?
So yeah, those 2 just didn't make any sense to me. The other 2 characters that you failed to mention are Stuart and Lucy, the 2 cute chimpanzees.
Well, they got to show up later, so.
I love chimpanzees in diapers. It's the cutest thing in the world.
I think everybody, when we were kids, wanted a pet chimpanzee.
Oh my gosh, they're adorable.
After watching Lancelot Link, and
Ugh.
I'm sure, hopefully they were treated well.
All right, well, we start this episode with Vicky, who now is an established, member of the crew, very excited because one of her idols or heroes or just someone that she really loves on a TV show that she likes is going to be filming on the ship.
I can't wait to meet her. I mean, I cannot believe she's actually coming here. I mean, she's the greatest.
Down, Vicky, down. Yeah, come on, Vicky, control yourself.
Vicky, you don't want Becky Daniels to think you're just a silly little kid, do you?
You're right. You're all right. I'll behave. After all, she's just a teenage girl who just happens to be a television star.
Right, no big deal.
Yeah, now come on. We're going to have to be on our toes because of Becky Daniels' show.
Becky Daniels!
There's something wrong.
No, sir.
No, sir. Have you seen Miss McCoy?
Well, she hasn't gotten back yet, sir. But she will.
Yeah, she spent the weekend with her folks in L.A. She probably got stuck in traffic.
Yes, well, she knows the rules. We sail at 11. We're the weather out and cruise director. Excuse me.
But the other element of this that I think they mentioned is that Julie is nowhere to be found.
Oh, that's right.
She's late. She's back in L.A. visiting her parents. I thought they lived somewhere else, but I guess, I don't know.
No, they had mentioned before that she's from L.A.
Oh, well, so she's running late, and this sets up a pretty long-running, not a gag, but just sort of this dynamic between her and this probably the most dashing veterinarian. I don't know. I can't think of anybody else who's more of a suave veterinarian than this guy is. But she's trying to get to the ship, and they have sort of not a heated, but a little bit of a butting of heads, fighting for a cab, both ironically to get to the same place.
Taxi!
Taxi! Oh, taxi!
Hey, hold it, love. That's my cab.
But I'm late for work.
Oh, what a pity.
Thank you.
But if you're pure in heart and think good thoughts, another cab will come along for you in no time.
But you don't understand. I can't wait. If I don't take this cab, I'm going to be in big trouble.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you're a very attractive young lady. And you do have my sympathy, but not my cab. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, too. Berth 93, San Pedro, please.
Michelle, after the Korean conflict, probably a lot of people, like any, war, they're questioning themselves, their calling in life. So Father Mulcahy, he turned in his collar. He got married to Toni Tennille.
Yes, he did.
And then that marriage went south real quick.
I'll say.
So he arrives on the ship. He's hot to trot. This guy's ready to hook up immediately. And he's telling the crew about his situation with his ex.
Can I help you, sir?
Not as much as she can. I'm Carl Mitchell.
Oh, hi, right. Mr. and Mrs. Carl Mitchell. Aloha Deck, cabin 217.
There is no Mrs. Mitchell.
Oh?
There was a Mrs. Mitchell when we bought the tickets, but there isn't now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not. She was bad news. We got divorced.
Oh, divorced.
We divided up everything, including our cruise tickets.
Oh, you got custody of the stateroom, huh?
She cashed in her ticket, but I figured this was my vacation, so I might as well enjoy it.
Good for you, Mr. Mitchell. You have a good cruise.
Then, of course, we have the classic comedy miscommunication where Toni Tennille did not cash in her ticket. She assumed he did.
Right.
And they both show up on the cruise and will be forced to share a room.
I don't mind that. I like that scenario.
I do too. But it's a classic TV scenario.
Yeah. And I mean, as we will find out, these two are basically an odd couple as well. One is messy, one is neat.
What does that sound like to you?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is our exact situation here in our home. I am the more orderly and neat of the two. Michelle, what do you call yourself? You have terms for this.
I'm messy, but not dirty. It's true. I don't like dirt.
You know what I'm going to post on
and
Instagram?
I'm sure Toni Tennille is not dirty either.
Right. I'm going to post your weird staging corner in the kitchen where there's some weird thing like leaned up against the light switch, and then there'll be like a tomato, and then like a box of something, and it's like, what is this corner? What is this all about?
Don't forget to use it corner.
Oh my God. And then also I'm going to, the companion, it'll be a couple photos, so we get hits of all of your weird produce that's lined in front of the one thing in the refrigerator too.
That's also my don't forget to use it area.
Like casually wrapped in saran wrap type of a thing. Yeah, so I totally identify with Father Mulcahy, and I think Michelle
and
really...
I identify with the glamorous Toni Tennille.
Muskrat love.
I'm just as glamorous.
All right, but we're not done with our guests, because we have the guest of honor making her way onto the ship, and that would be Becky Daniels. This is a confusing episode for me, everybody, because Becky, Vicky, Julie, I start to get very, very confused. But yes, Becky Daniels arrives with the entourage, and it's pretty exciting.
It's her! I'm going to be filming my show here so you can all watch. It's Becky Daniels in person!
Now, Vicky, remember what you said.
Oh, right.
Yes.
I do believe Miss Daniels has arrived. Shall we go and greet her?
Yes, excuse us. Let's enjoy the cruise. Welcome aboard. I'm Captain Stewart.
Oh, thank you, Captain. Wow, what a neat ship.
Thank you for letting us use it. We're delighted to have you. Oh, may I present my daughter, Vicky?
Hi. Hi. So nice to meet you. I never miss your show, never. Me neither. And this is my dear Aunt Gertrude.
Oh, call me Gert.
Sure.
I'm here to keep Becky out of trouble.
Well, in that case, I'm sure you'll have plenty of time to enjoy the cruise.
Oh, and this is my talented director, Mr. Scott.
Welcome aboard.
Well, maybe I can show you around the ship later. Well, that would be terrific. I just know we're going to be great friends. Well, I'll see you all later.
Bye, Captain.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's just as wonderful as she is on the show.
Gert? Yes, dear.
Make sure you keep that little runt out of my hair.
Here we go.
Now, this is what I was talking about, Michelle, that I love. And this, I don't know that anyone, what is the person's name again? The one who plays Becky Daniels? What is her name? Laura Ingrams? What's her name?
is
Anagram?
Alison Arngrim.
Alice, what? Okay. She is maybe the best as far as like a person who an actor playing an actor, like a young actor playing a young actor, who on the surface is very like personable and sunny and awesome, but behind the scenes she's mean.
It's kind of like her character on Little House on the Prairie.
She plays it so
Typecasting
well.
a little bit.
She's incredible in that capacity, and it is the type of scenario or the type of character that I love very, very much. Kudos, Chris Willis, because I was all in on this episode.
And then, as luck would have it, the doctor veterinarian, of course, who Julie had a run-in with for the cab, is also booked on this cruise.
Yeah, he does a cool Errol Flynn type like jump over the barrier because it's like the ship's about to pull away, and then he just makes it in the nick of time.
Yes.
Where the hell were the chimps?
That's what I was asking, because he's apparently transporting 2 baby chimps loose to Mexico. And he's A, taking them on a cruise ship, B, he didn't have them when he got there.
Yeah.
And C, they're just alone in his room in diapers in bed. Like they're so well behaved, like little children. That's too much for me.
Let it go, Lancelot.
Lancy.
So Father Mulcahy's putting all his stuff in the teeny tiny closet right away.
Neatly.
Yeah. And he's, getting ready to get out there, throw a little confetti, and pick his first victim.
But little does he know, his wife shows up, ex-wife shows up, also in the room.
You! What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? You said you were going to cash in your ticket.
Well, you said you were. That's the only reason I came. Look at this mess. It's like I never left home.
Start that again, Mr. Clean.
Don't Mr. Clean me, Miss Piggy. Get me the purser's office. Hello, this is Carl Mitchell in Aloha 217. I'd like to move to another stateroom, please. I'll say there's something wrong with it. It's too crowded.
Michelle, do you think all the people on the podcast, they probably know me best from my commercial work here in Chicago when I was a child?
And I've yet to see.
Because there was like, what are the lesser sort of retail outlets that you know of? Like back in the day, Kmart was a cheap store. But then there was also like Venture, wasn't there?
Yeah, and Zare.
And there was an even lower one on the rung called Community back in the day. Don't ask, you guys.
I
don't
don't
know.
even remember that.
Right. And my mother somehow finagled a way for all of us kids, and I loved it, quite honestly. I was so ready to be like a child performer because I didn't have to go to school then. And I was like, why can't every day be like this? And we shot these weird commercials, and then we would never see them. It's like, it's going to air at like 3:33 a.m. on channel whatever. And my whole family would be around like waiting for it to happen, and it never happened. But we probably were all just talking and then missed it.
Could be. And then you didn't have VCR back then.
Yeah.
So you couldn't record it or anything.
But we did all these weird recordings in the city of Chicago. If only we could get them, I probably would be mortified. But
I would pay to see them.
But yeah, that was me, you guys. So I really relate to Becky on the ship filming.
Were you as demanding as her on the set?
No, I was not.
They make you eat salad.
No. I was not at all. I was not a star of her caliber. But she is filming, doing some killer semaphore, whatever the plot of her show is. Vicky's completely enamored, and she wants in on the action, though.
Okay, could we finish with the makeup? We got a scene to do. You about ready, Becky?
All ready, Jeff.
Fine. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, could we please have it quiet on the set? Ship. All right, hit the wheel. Roll 'em. And action.
Don't worry if the radio's out, Captain. I learned my semaphore code. They see us, Captain. They see us. We're safe.
And cut. Oh, beautiful, Becky. Beautiful. Beautiful, huh? Beautiful. Good.
Marvelous. Get this smelly outfit off of me. Of course, dear.
Let's get set up for the next scene, okay? I want the long shot from over there, all right?
This is great. I'd give anything to be on a TV show.
Well, maybe if your father asks him, they might have a part for you.
Really? Oh, would you, Dad? Please. Oh, please, 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 please.
Well,
Please.
the worst I can do is say no. Excuse me, Miss Daniels. May I ask you a little favor?
Certainly, Captain. What can I do for you?
Well, my daughter is... Well, I think she's very talented. Well, do you have a small part for her in your show?
Gosh, I don't know. We'll have to think it over. Maybe there is a little something.
Thank you, Miss Daniels.
Maybe I'm the Queen of England.
It's nice to see the captain really jump into fatherhood here and help his daughter.
Well, it's like we've already discussed how much we love that the captain's kind of a starstruck guy.
Yes.
He's a celebrity sort of fascinated person. He loves all of that stuff, like actors, musicians. So for him to be a proud father, sort of like a stage dad, this is kind of a really great and funny situation, for Captain Merrill Stubing.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it a lot.
Me too. We finally get to see these two mystery chimps that show up on the ship as he's carrying them in their little diapers down the corridor. And then Julie has some words.
Yeah, Julie's kind of like, she like, it's very confrontational up front with these two because, they butt heads about the cab and stuff. So it's also kind of cute, but she's trying to take him to task and say, you can't have diapered chimpanzees here, not in the whatever, where they store them down in the baggage claim or whatever they do to poor animals. And then Gopher comes along and lets her know that
Captain said it was okay.
Well, Stuart and Lucy, what do you think of this glamorous ship so far?
What is this?
Well, we better be careful. There's some very difficult people around here.
Sir, I apologize for the taxi incident, but would you mind explaining this?
Not at all. But first, don't you think that introductions are in order?
Julie McCoy, cruise director.
Stuart and Lucy, chimpanzee.
Very amusing. Whoever you are, for your information, animals are not permitted in the passenger areas of the ship.
Not permitted, really?
Really?
Are you certain?
I'm absolutely positive.
But are you certain?
Look, if you refuse to comply with the ship's regulations, I'm afraid I'll have to report you to the captain.
Dr. Selkirk, how you doing?
Fine, thank you, Gopher.
Doctor?
Mere veterinarian.
Gopher, would you please inform the vet that if he refuses to house his animals below decks, he and his chimps can be put ashore at the first port.
Oh, can't do that, Julie. Except for the coral dining room, they pretty much have the run of the ship. Captain's orders.
Captain Stubing said that.
Well, maybe it was Captain Kangaroo.
Yeah, you would have known about it if you'd been here on time.
Oh, believe me, she tried.
I find this whole thing ridiculous.
Married? Engaged? Angry? Well, another fine mess you got me into.
Michelle, the hits keep rolling for me on this episode because we always love usually dinner. I think we've talked about the dining room, food.
Absolutely.
Various things of that nature many, many times. We're fascinated. Outside of the candle holder, it's like my favorite thing. And this one has one of my favorite things. Do you know what it is?
Shrimp cocktail?
Nope. But it is in some sort of a glass fancy container.
Sundaes?
Yes. You guys and I go out to dinner when I was a child. I think all I wanted was just a hot fudge sundae. And I still think it's the greatest dessert of all time. I'm an eternal 8-year-old. And oh my God, did her sundae look actually really good? And I would like one right this moment.
It did look good.
So she's sitting at a table, and you know who else was jealous of that sundae? Becky was jealous of that sundae.
Got to keep her figure as a child star.
Yeah, it's hard being a child star, man. It's not fun.
It's terrible. No wonder why she's cranky.
So they're having their desserts. Captain Merrill's nursing a strawberry of some kind.
I didn't know what his really was.
I know. And this is where he makes the first move to try and be an agent for his daughter and start priming the pump for Vicky to become a child actor.
Becky's so fabulous. Everybody loves her.
Yes. Sometimes that situation is difficult to handle.
Never bothered me.
I don't want to be in drag. But, Dad, could you ask her again if I could be in her show?
Oh, Vicky, I don't think so.
Oh, please? I think she likes me. Please?
Well, all right. Excuse me, please.
How come the little twerp gets a hot fudge sundae and I don't?
Because, dear, it is fattening.
But I want a hot fudge sundae.
Your aunt's right, sweetheart. Every extra pound looks like 10 on the old silver screen.
I never have any fun.
Good evening.
Oh,
Excuse me for interrupting,
Yes.
but Vicky wanted me to ask if you made up your mind about her being in your show.
Oh, I've spent all of dinner trying to talk the director into it, but he's a real tough nut. I'll have to have some more time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll talk. Thank you.
What's that all about?
Oh, he wants me to give his kid a part. What does he think I'm running here, a kiddie show?
What'd she say?
It's up to the director. She's on your side.
The one thing that's kind of out of character to me about Julie is how vindictive she is with this guy.
Yeah, she must have had a bad visit with her parents because she does seem like in a foul mood with this dude.
Because she's really doing some mean things to him throughout the whole...
Yeah, like where she sets up, like she thought she was going to really burn him by setting him up at a table at dinner with a bunch of Russian-speaking people. Turns out the vet knows how to speak Russian.
Of course he did.
He knows how to speak chimpanzee, English, and Russian.
Probably speaks French and German, too.
I bet he does. Bet he does. Yeah, so a lot's taking place at dinner time. Michelle, you don't understand that a suave polyglot like this veterinarian... he's intrigued by that sort of fire.
Yeah.
That sort of spirit.
It's like a challenge.
Yes. And so later on the dance floor, he asks Julie to dance. He suavely says that, she's asking, why did they laugh? Why did the Russian people laugh?
Oh,
and
yeah.
he promised that by the end of the evening, they would be kissing one another.
Now look.
Before you go any further, I know you'll be very pleased to hear that I have forgiven you.
Well, how lovely of you.
Well, I'm a lovely fellow, which you no doubt are discovering little by little.
Well, then tell me, lovely fellow, what did you say about me that made all those people laugh?
Oh, I shouldn't.
Oh, please.
Well, since I'm such a lovely fellow, I will. I simply told them that you didn't know it yet, but before the evening was through, I was going to kiss you.
Really? Well, we wouldn't want to make a liar out of you, shall we?
Right here?
Close your eyes.
All right.
This episode gives like kind of a cool, like behind the scenes look at how the magic of Hollywood takes place. And it's like they're all like the director Jethro Bodine's love interest.
Anchor.
Yeah, and a guy with a weird cowboy hat. I don't know if he's the key grip or what his role is.
I think he was working the camera in the other scenes.
He's the DP, director of photography. Is that it?
Kind of Burt Reynolds-ish.
Yeah, well, they're all discussing what's going to take place on tomorrow's shoot. They got to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's grumbling, and then all of a sudden, Hurricane Becky comes storming in through the door because she is not happy with what is required of her in the script. So anger, ladies and gentlemen, leads to Vicky's big break.
Well, thank goodness so far we're right on schedule. Tomorrow morning we'll start with scenes 48 and 64. And Carol, make sure Becky's dress is ready, okay? All right, that should about do it. I want everybody ready to roll tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. sharp. Hey, come on, show folk. We got a lot of work to do. Get a good night's rest. Nighty-night. Nighty-night.
I'm not doing it.
Becky, sweetheart, what's the matter?
Who wrote this stuff?
The script? Well, it was written by some of the finest writers we have.
Don't give me that. I'm not doing a script unless I get a double.
A double? Oh, honey, we couldn't possibly get a double. We're right in the middle of the ocean. Where are we going to find one? Water?
I'm surrounded by incompetence.
Becky, perhaps?
I don't think so, young lady.
Please.
Sometimes that's...
Vicky, I've been looking all over for you. You have? Yes. You still want to be in my show, don't you? Do I? More than anything in the world. Well, be on the set tomorrow morning. It's your big break.
The star is born.
It turns out that these are all like very physical things that are going to happen to Becky, so therefore she didn't want to do them, and poor Vicky has to do them.
She doesn't know, though.
She doesn't realize like what's coming for her in the first scene. I believe it's like she's splashed with water.
Yeah.
But she keeps going with a smile on her face.
She's a trooper, man.
She really is. And then the next scene, none of it made sense, but in classic television form, there's pies involved.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with a pie. She thought she got to eat the dessert, but in reality, she got a pie thrown in her face.
Poor kid. That looked violent, that one.
It did. But she really did do such a good job. And we've said it already that she is a great addition to the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Jill Whelan is awesome. Michelle, the lighthearted thing is this odd couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that they did a really good job with this because it's simple and, it's an obvious kind of a thing. And they gave it the right amount of time because Mulcahy, he's hitting it off with this really attractive woman.
Yes.
He did a switcheroo in the dining room earlier by changing the numbers.
Oh, that's right.
Pretty shrewd. And he's taken her back to the room and she was all in. And then all of a sudden, Toni Tennille, who also, like that other woman who was with Mel Sharples, looks like she's 8 feet tall to me. And she's coming back with Doc.
Yes.
To the room. Doc, it's like, hey, why not? Let's do this. It's like I had nothing else going on tonight.
Not going to lie, they made a good couple.
There you go. When they get in the room, or no. Earlier in this thing, the woman was just like, she sees all the clothes on the floor and everything like that. And she picks up pantyhose and she's like, if this is what you're into, it's none of my business, meaning he's a cross-dresser. So that type of stuff they didn't belabor and I thought was actually pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great job. But the whole thing leads to him not scoring for the evening and a classic fight.
Well, here we are. Good night, Adam.
Well, aren't you going to invite me in?
Well, how about that? A doctor who makes stateroom calls. Sure, come on in. We'll have a nightcap.
I beg your pardon. Who are they?
Who are they?
Why didn't you put out the do not disturb sign?
Because I couldn't find it under all the mess you left.
Start that again.
I didn't start it again. You did, by barging in here.
Well, it's my stateroom.
It's only half yours, the messy half.
You can't yell at me like that. We're divorced.
Oh, yes, I can. I paid the lawyer bills.
Where are you going?
To find a nice, clean, neat, tidy lifeboat to sleep in. Any place but here. Good night.
Oh, sit on it.
Now, all the while, Michelle, the animosity is still continuing between the veterinarian and Julie. Julie being more of the aggressor in this. The vet is being a little more lighthearted. And he had done some ridiculous prank on her, calling her up saying, my chimps are missing, all just to get him to her room. And then she storms out. And then she decides to prank call him.
Right.
And tell him, what'd she say? I can't remember. Like, there's some emergency, you know.
Oh, like there was they had to leave the ship.
Yeah, like some horrifying thing.
Like, but there were no alarms or anything going off, so I'm not sure how he exactly fell for it.
It's also like grounds for dismissal, I'd imagine, if you do something
right,
like that.
because he's got to grab the chimps and then he's got to get out.
Yeah, you got to grab your chimps, man. It's just like, that's not easy with their little tiny life vests.
In fact, the more that I'm recalling it, I thought that was really mean of her to do. Like, his were just kind of okay kind of things, but that one was really mean.
Well, I think she actually admits as much. But the thing is, this prank leads to romance.
May I help you?
Your idea of a joke, I presume.
Well, let's just say I thought it'd be a good idea if at least one of the jokes tonight was on you.
Well, yours was a very stupid joke, if you don't mind me saying so.
Well, maybe I did go a little too far.
Stupid and childish.
Well, I'm sorry.
Surely you've got something better to do with your time. On second thought, probably you don't.
I said I'm sorry.
Apology not accepted. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I'm going to go back to my cab.
Fine. You want me to call you a taxi?
That was another joke, I presume. Would you mind holding these a moment?
Would you mind holding these for a moment?
So typical of The Love Boat, when two people get together, finally, after all this trouble getting together, they immediately say they love each other. I found that a little quick after all the fighting, but maybe hence that was all the fighting was about. It was like tension.
It was insane.
It was.
Not a little quick. It was madness. Something's wrong with Julie. She needs to go on medication because, you know, she's hating this guy.
Right.
And, you know,
plays a super mean trick.
It's the one real major flaw of this where they pledge their love to one another when, I mean, it's beyond too fast. And both of the chimps should have attacked their faces.
I was waiting for that because what chimp wants to be in the middle of that? None.
Well, they're going to be living their lives out in sunny Acapulco.
In a Mexican zoo.
We'd only hope. I hope they don't end up in a tostada or something like that. Some sort of scam.
They'll be smoking cigarettes.
Oh, my God, in a circus, in a terrible Mexican circus. Well, it's just like they did. They pledged love to one another, and that was kind of disturbing to me and a little too quick, as Michelle said. Now, I think there's even more, Michelle, about like the lighthearted thing that I like even better because, you know, they're going back and forth with one another. And then, you know, Mulcahy, and I apologize to anybody who's not a MASH, who knows what MASH is. It's just the way that
Mr.
I know.
Mitchell.
Yeah, to talk about these people. He bunks with Gopher for the night.
Oh, that's right.
On one of the, you know, the portable cots or whatever. And he's all upset. And then Gopher, you know, is being pretty nice, pretty hospitable, and then gives him some advice. And I really like this part, you know, because it's like he's saying maybe try and see things from her side. And it kind of sets up this like switcheroo type of a thing that I thought was kind of fun, super sitcom oriented type of a thing, but made complete sense between these two people. And Gopher, I mean, basically for a while hasn't really played a huge role in things. So it's just like he sets this off, and I thought that this was kind of fun.
Oh, wait, Mr. Mitchell. Hey, no. You don't have to do that.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm really grateful to you for putting me up last night.
Oh, that's no problem. I'm just sorry things aren't working out between you and Mrs. Mitchell.
Well, it's not my fault. She's impossible. She's so sloppy, so disorganized. Nobody can live with her. You know what that woman does? Mm-hmm. She leaves the cap off the toothpaste.
You ever reported her to the authorities? Look, Mr. Mitchell. No, Mr. Mitchell. No. Now look. I don't want to interfere. But aren't you being just a little bit hard on her? I mean, she could have a lot worse habits than just being untidy.
But she...
No, wait a minute. Why don't you try it her way for a change? Make a little mess. Might even enjoy it.
Well, maybe I do get a little carried away sometimes. You're right. From now on, no more being so picky about keeping things neat all the time.
There you go. Give it your best shot, and let me know how things turn out.
You bet.
Okay.
Just a minute. There's a little piece of dirt there.
It's the next day, and I believe it's the morning, and the doctor veterinarian is in the Pirates Cove drinking scotch. And the captain comes in to apologize for Julie's behavior, not knowing what transpired the night before.
Selkirk.
I'd like to apologize. I understand there's some friction between you and Miss McCoy, and I'd like to say...
No problem.
Anyway, I'd like to say on her behalf that she is usually competent, efficient, and extremely pleasant. I just wish you had a chance to know her.
Hello, love.
Oh, hi.
I see that you two have made up.
Kissed and made up.
I thought it best for Julie to tell you herself, Captain.
Yes. Well, carry on.
Oh, don't worry, Captain. We will.
Wouldn't you normally get in trouble on a job if you were just making out with a passenger in front of your boss in a bar in the morning?
She would have been fired for a million different things. She was late to begin with.
Right.
She called a fake emergency. Now she's just full on making out on the job.
In front of other customers.
I know this is a sex cruise, but it's just like, well, maybe that's acceptable on the sex cruise. You totally can make out with passengers if need be.
Maybe so.
But Doc seems far more discreet.
Yes, he really is.
He knows how to handle his affairs properly.
It's true.
Yeah, so then the captain, just his eyes kind of bug out of like, oh, I guess everything's all right.
Mm-hmm. Istvan.
Yes?
We have a Grease scenario coming up.
I don't know what you're talking about. Is there bowling?
Not bowling. They're talking about Grease 2. I'm talking about Grease 1. Toni Tennille is now confiding in Doc.
Yes.
Who is also giving her the same advice Gopher has given.
That's what I like. Because now it's a switcheroo. She's going to be like he was, and he's going to be like she was.
It's like the end of Grease.
Is that what
John
happened?
Travolta becomes like a jock, and he tones it down, and then Olivia Newton-John becomes wild, and she puts on the leather pants.
You know what? I didn't like Grease when I was a kid. I was like the one, because there was such hysteria about it that I almost like was being stubborn old man at the age of whatever I was, 10 years old.
10.
Like, I don't like this.
When it came out.
And I am more of a Grease 2 fan, quite honestly. Of the two, I think I prefer. I'm a Zemet head, as we've covered, as are you.
I like Grease 2 too, but to me, they're two completely different movies.
Why do we not have our friend Stephen P. Slivka? Because I think he knows all the lyrics to "We're Gonna Bop, We're Gonna Bowl," whatever the hell that song.
Score.
I think he knows every lyric. Yeah, wait, so it's a Grease scenario. Yeah, so Doc is giving her that advice because she's saying that she is still in love with him, she thinks.
Hello.
Hi.
You feeling okay?
I'm fine. I just been doing a lot of thinking.
You care to think out loud?
I got a big problem.
Well, what's that?
My ex-husband. I think I still love him.
That doesn't sound like such a big problem to me. Divorces can be annulled, too, in a manner of speaking.
You know, he has a lot of good qualities. He's loving and caring, but impossible to live with, and he drives me up the wall with his nitpicking.
Well, but why don't you try it his way for a change?
You mean be like him?
Yeah, pick a few nits of your own. Maybe there's a reason you were brought together on this cruise. Maybe this is your second chance.
Never thought of it like that. Yeah, I'll do it. Maybe there's hope for us after all. You know, it's funny. I can't believe I'm in love with a guy who has his boxer shorts dry cleaned.
Now, again, you guys, I do have to thank, yet again, Chris Willis for this awesome suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next scene, all of this, as they wrap up the show, is, I think, exceptionally great. I love that the whole crew, like the whole film crew, is like having like brunch or lunch or something like that with one another. Vicky's at the table super happy because she's been in this movie. She's been doing great. She's fun to work with. And the people are all really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're telling her that, she's doing great. But Becky walks into the room and she is not pleased with hearing about another young potential starlet getting any kind of accolades. And it turns ugly.
It turns really ugly.
I want to do those 2 close-ups of Becky after lunch. Scene 24 and 28. And also I want to do a retake on that catch-up scene that we did yesterday because ran down her blouse. It was dripping.
Excuse me, miss.
Look at it.
May I have your autograph?
I've only been a star for half a day and the public just won't leave me alone.
Your daughter's quite a little actress, Captain. Good sport, too.
You should be very proud of her.
I've always been proud of her.
Hey, maybe someday she'll have a little TV show of her own. We'll talk.
Right. I just hope she doesn't forget us little people.
Bye, Captain.
Bye now.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, Beck.
Hello, dear.
I've been thinking of something, Jeff.
What's that?
I don't need a double after all.
But, sweetheart, you're the one that hired her.
That's right. That's why I'm the one to fire her. Either she goes or I go.
Now, Becky, be reasonable.
My contract says nothing about being reasonable.
I'm sorry, kid. Welcome to showbiz.
It's like acting on top of acting.
What do you mean?
Vicky's pretending to be acting on the ship, but her actual acting in this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's what is that called? Meta or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's really fun. It's a really fun scenario. I think it's done really, really mm-hmm. well. And again, like a glimpse into sort of like the reality of performances and Hollywood and all of those things. And I thought it was really cool and interesting. And
her heart is broken.
Oh God, yeah, because that's her hero, and then she finds out that she's so mean.
I like too that when she's with the captain in her bedroom, upset about it. A, she has a Miss Piggy poster in her room.
Oh, I love that.
Me too. And B, I love that she's ripping up the poster of
I think she almost gave like Gavin McLeod like a fatal paper cut when she did that. I think it comes so close to his neck or face. Seriously, like I'm like, oh my God, he didn't even flinch. He was like rock solid because I thought it came very close to him.
It's a veteran actor right there.
But this is really a cool part too because the insight and sort of like the advice or whatever you want to call it that he gives to her is so thoughtful.
Yes.
And spot on. And and then her being the type of, person that she is, she's also kind of a mature young person. She really listens and takes it to heart. I thought this was a great scene.
I guess I don't blame you for taking that down.
Well, if I leave it up there, I'll probably have nightmares. How could anybody be so rotten?
I don't know. Maybe it's not all her fault.
How can you say that? She fired me.
Now, what I mean is, here she is, practically a child, thrown into that adult world. Think of the pressure on her. Think of all the people who depend on her to make a living. How'd you like to carry all that around with you?
Well, I guess I wouldn't, but still...
Vicky, I know you're mad. That's understandable. Instead of hating her, maybe you should feel sorry for her.
You know what? I've been giving Chris Willis, our listener, a lot of kudos today for this great suggestion, but I'd also like to give kudos to all the writers, but in particular, Cy Rose, who wrote Separate Beds, because at this point, after getting advice from both Gopher and Doc, the odd couple are both now behaving, or at least trying to behave, in the way that the other would normally behave. They meet up in the room. It baffles both of them.
I like how his hair's all messy when he comes in.
And because of this, it leads them both to a wonderful reconciliation.
Carl! I don't know what you're up to, but cut it out.
What are you talking about?
Look at this place. What's gotten into you? When did you become a slob?
I said I'd pick it up later. What's gotten into you? When did you become so compulsive?
I'm just trying to be the way you want me to be. I guess I just can't do anything to please you.
Don't cry. I'm I'm sorry. I was just trying to see things your way.
You were?
Yes. That's how I thought you wanted me to be.
Oh, Carl, we've been so foolish. How could we let such little things break up our marriage?
I don't know. But let's not make the same mistake twice. From now on, I'll accept you just the way you are.
This killer episode keeps on delivering, Michelle.
It really does.
Because they take one of our favorite parts of the ship, as we have dubbed it Love Bow. It's usually at nighttime, almost exclusively, when people are having heavy conversations, but they did a little variation. It's on the steps.
Yes, it is.
Steps of Love Bow. And a very heavy-hearted little actress, Becky, she's feeling bad because you do imagine the weight that these kids have on them. Any actor or actress, but especially kids.
Right.
That all this stuff is riding on them doing well, all the pressure.
And just maybe the realization to her that, like, she could be out at any minute.
No, that's the
and
pressure.
another
Yes.
kid's coming right in her place.
Absolutely. No, that's oh God, it's terrible. And Vicky sees her, and they have a wonderful exchange.
Nice night, isn't it? Okay, what do you want? Your job back? Forget it.
No, I don't want anything. I just wanted to tell you that in spite of everything, I think you're a wonderful actress, and I'll always watch your show. Good night.
Hey, wait! You don't want anything from me?
No.
Well, that's a switch.
I mean, people always want something from you? Even your friends?
What friends? I never had any friends.
My father always says that if you want a friend, you have to first be a friend. Well, good night.
Vicky? Can I be your friend?
This just proves what a wonderful kid Vicky is.
Yes, absolutely.
Rather than be a jerk, which that girl totally deserves from Vicky, she is a friend.
It's wonderful, quite honestly. And you're 100% correct. And the girl still was kind of jerkish initially, and it didn't dissuade her from saying what she had to say, which was a really, really wonderfully nice and generous thing. And then now I'm sorry to use this whatever metaphor, analogy, it's the life preserver that Becky needed, because nobody listened to her. She said she didn't have any friends. She felt very isolated and alone. And Vicky extending her hand in this way was a huge gesture and something that I think that she really valued. Sorry.
I think so too. And I also was thinking if kids like us were watching it,
yes,
maybe we would have learned something.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, like to be nice to that person because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was. This episode was a killer episode. Seriously, they really handled some stuff. It moved really, really beautifully. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was really great. Like if this is their season finale, they really ended the season really well.
Oh, because as I stated earlier, that we were saying this is the end of the season. It kind of left us with a cliffhanger because Julie comes with her doctor friend.
Yeah, because earlier in the lounge, Julie was dancing with the vet. Mm-hmm. And the crew's all like watching, wondering like what's going on here. Because again, they're like her brothers, just concerned about her well-being. And Doc actually goes and butts in and like really wants to know the scoop, the scuttlebutt of what's taking place between her and this guy. And she kind of like, she likes that they're concerned, but she assures him, that everything is above board. But during this, there's like a thing where you're wondering what's happening because he gets some sort of like telegram.
Oh, that's right.
He gets a telegram from the land. And so he leaves and like, you don't know what does this mean? Is he really like, I thought at first it's like, oh my gosh, maybe he's not a vet at all. What is this guy?
Or maybe like, yeah, he kidnapped those chimps and now he's going to be arrested when they get
chimp smuggler. But in reality, it turns out that he's been given this like killer job offer in Australia. Oh, I know. He's going to go to Australia.
Steve Irwin before Steve Irwin.
Yeah. And so he lets her know about this and is basically, giving her a proposition, not necessarily a proposal, basically.
Yes.
To come live with him in Australia.
Toni,
Hello, love.
You disappeared.
Well, I sensed that your friends wanted to talk to you. And I received some news that I needed to think about.
Not bad news, I hope.
No. Good news, good news. It's the only job I ever wanted.
The Chief of Research at the Rossmore Animal Reserve.
The finest facility of its kind. Opportunity of a lifetime.
Wonderful.
But it's very far away. Australia. A few miles northwest of Sydney. The work will be hard, but we'll have it.
I thought you worked alone.
I do. The we means you and I.
Tony, I don't know if I want to live with you.
Well, I know if I want to live without you.
But before we come to the apex or the edge of this cliffhanger, we do have to say goodbye to our other passengers. Now, before we do, Michelle, what did you think of this episode? Like, let's give it sundaes. Out of 10 sundaes, hot fudge sundaes, how many hot fudge sundaes do you give this?
I'd give it a 9.
Oh, man, absolutely. 9. The only reason that I don't give it a 10 is simply because of them blindsiding me with I love you, which seems kind of crazy.
That, and I don't like the laissez-faire attitude of them with the chimps.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of letting them kind of be on their own a lot of the time.
Yeah, I get upset with any animal, harm or anything like that. Yeah, so a full solid 9, though, with a cherry on top for sure. So again, C. Willis, outstanding.
Absolutely.
Chef's kiss for this episode. Very, very good. But yeah, it's time to say goodbye. So the first people off are our odd couple, and they are going to get back together.
Yes, they are. Happy endings.
I want to thank you both. Because of you two, we are getting remarried.
Oh, that's terrific. Congratulations.
You and Len deserve all the credit. You did it yourself.
We decided not to let a few personal habits ruin our marriage.
That's right. And after the wedding, when everybody throws the rice, this time he promised he won't stop to sweep it up.
A much chipper Becky, a little happier Becky is about to leave the ship because she's made a friend, basically.
Yes.
Don't she and Vicky agree to stay in touch with each other?
Can I ask you a question? Is that her real hair? That doesn't even look like real hair to me. It looks like a wig. She's got that little, what is that? What kind of hair is it? Holly, what kind of hair is that? Those braids.
It's almost like her Little House on the Prairie type hair.
Is she going back to the prairie?
I don't know. Maybe the only thing I could think of is maybe she was a little older and they were trying to make her look a little younger.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. It was a weird choice.
Yeah, but they're taking off, and it's actually done more where it's Aunt Gert. She even says it's the first she's called her that in a long time because these poor kids have to grow up so fast and they turn hard, and it's really terrible. So it even was like bringing their like little family back together, Vicky's gesture to her. So this was a really sweet thing too, and they say goodbye to one another.
Bye-bye.
Captain?
Yes.
I wanted to thank you and Vicky for everything. And my Aunt Gert wants to thank you too.
And that's exactly why I want to thank you. Becky's calling me Aunt Gert again after years of calling me Hey You.
And Captain, I'd like to thank you for the use of your ship. I think things worked out perfectly, don't you?
They certainly did.
Oh, remember, Vicky, you promised to come and visit me at the studio. I'll treat you to a hot fudge sundae. Fantastic, as long as I get to eat it and not wear it. Goodbye, friend. Bye-bye, friend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Gert.
Now, Michelle, we are at the cliffhanger,
Yes, we are.
and our backs are against the wall. We're about to fall over the edge into the chasm. Now, the thing is that I know is like, and I can't believe this, and this is one of the reasons back in the day before we'd made the decision to cherry pick things. I'm like, I don't know that I want to go forward into the Love Boat if any of these people are no longer part of the cast. And you have told me that Lauren Tews does get bounced from the Love Boat at some point. That's not now, is it?
No, because I believe the way this episode ends, I mean, I don't know. I guess now I feel like we have to watch the first episode of season 4.
Oh, boy, because...
Chris, you gotten us into a mess.
Thanks, Chris.
Because now I kind of need to know, like...
I know.
Are they... I don't think she's off just quite yet, no.
Because what happens is the crew all meanders over. They're all patting themselves on the back for another cruise well done. And then they find out what is happening, kind of.
Well, mates, another voyage through unknown waters successfully navigated to Acapulco and home. How do we do it?
Well, some do it very well. Yes, it does seem as if Julie's found a friend.
Yeah. What I'm afraid of is that maybe we've lost one.
Hey, wait a minute. Do I have to fight the whole crew just to kiss goodbye?
No, but you may have to fight us if you don't kiss her goodbye.
Guess what? Tony's invited me to spend my vacation with him in Australia.
Are you going?
Mm-hmm.
And I've also invited her to be my wife.
Well?
I refuse to answer on the grounds that I might incriminate myself.
So they leave us hanging like she's going on vacation to Australia. She's going to hug some koalas, maybe find some chimps, maybe get bit by some sort of like poisonous something or other. And then we don't know if she's going to stay with him. That's what I thought. Like, are they writing her off of the show? And now she's going to go, that's the whole thing. Like, she goes to live in Australia with the handsome vet.
I don't know. I'm going to have to watch the next one just to see.
Oh, boy. Is that going to be our next one? Do we watch it? We might have to.
It might be. We might need to.
Yeah, I think we might. Maybe we're going to do an Audible. Oh, my gosh. All right. No, I think...
I think we picked our own next
Dude, there's
episode.
so many, though, because we were watching this. Like I said, I would love to watch the one. I keep seeing all these things. I'm like, oh, that person's on. That person's on. It's like, I love the show.
Phyllis Diller.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I love Phyllis Diller. And it's like, there's so many that I want to see. I'm like, oh, I wonder what that person's doing. So it's like... whatever.
The show that keeps on giving.
It really does. But now it's like I do want to know what's happening. So it's like I think we do need that may be the next episode, you guys.
It might be.
Stay tuned. We also have some other suggestions from our all-star, Stacy.
Yes.
And they sound good.
They really do.
So it's like I think we were thinking of doing that, but I think we need to do now just to see what happens. I think we're going to have to follow this with the first one, although season 4 might be where they got rid of the laugh tracks, and I'm going to be totally bummed out.
Well, we'll have to look and see.
I'm just going to make the biggest hot fudge sundae and sit there and drown my sorrows when there's no laugh and laugh harder maniacally watching the episode. All right, so you guys, thank you again, Chris Willis, for the suggestion. It's so good.
And again, anybody else out there?
Oh, yes. Yeah. If anyone has any suggestions, I think we've said it plenty of times. Please send them in. And what did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Would you go off to Australia with a veterinarian you just met 5 seconds ago? I say yes. What's there to lose anymore, really, right?
It's true.
Who cares?
She's young.
As long as you're not in the middle of the outback. It's like if you're in Sydney, I think he said just like a little bit outside of Sydney, it probably kicks ass in Australia, I think, unless it's, who knows. But like, maybe we'll all meet veterinarians, you guys. I'll try and find those commercials I was in when I was a child. I remember one where I had to carry fish on a line and it was digging into my hand and it was freezing cold on Lake Michigan.
What?
Yeah, and I was a trooper just like Vicky, and they gave me things because I did such a good job because they could see how hard I was struggling. But it's probably some sort of sadistic stuff that people do to make you go through because people were really cruel back then.
What kind of fish were you carrying?
I have no idea.
You caught the fish? Like you were ice fishing?
Do you want to know what? My dad was in that commercial with me.
No.
Yes. It's insane. It's the craziest day of my life. I swear to God.
I wish there was a way to find this.
Oh my God. And it's like, what we were advertising is like the coats that we have, those big like winter coats. And we're on the beach and I was we had just gone fishing in sub-zero temperatures.
Ice fishing. That's what they do on Lake Michigan.
And they made me carry the fish, not the dad. Let the kid carry the heavy fish. They weighed like 1,000 pounds and I was carrying these.
Didn't matter because you were warm in your coat from Community.
Oh my God. All right, you guys. Until next time, I am Istvan.
I'm Michelle.
Captain Stubing, please come to the bridge.
And we are
Lovin The Loveboat.